I've made you wait a weekend for this, but we're back. Part 2 transfer special here at Union Berlin, and the deals are happening. That's right, Paulie boy here, £12 million. We're going to accept that. Thank you very much, Dortmund. You can have a centre-back off me every year. Elsewhere, Laduni, 11.25 million. We're going to take that as well. And all of a sudden, with one swift hit of continue, we have money to spend. In fact, we now have a transfer budget of £44.5 million. The aim for today, buy quality. Find 1, 2, maybe 3 players who are really going to take this team to the next level. If we could find a standout centre-back, that would be amazing. Besides that, we've made some sales. Obviously, in real life, Union Berlin are a selling club. This is what we have to do to sustain ourselves with a small ground. But I think we can afford to spend a little all of a sudden. Today is episode number 10 of Building Berlin. And well, we're going to spend some money today. Yes, folks, we are back. It's been a wait, but now the action can resume. Here is the state of play. Here is the current state of the squad. I would love to get a new right attacking mid in. Last episode, we picked up Zach Hyen. So far, the comments have been reasonably kind. I think most people feel like he is going to be a good signing for us. I've got high hopes for him, not just because of how good he is now, but because of his potential and the fact he's valued at 67 to 76 million pounds. One thing I didn't mention before, has got a release clause of 74 million. I'll just slip that in there. Anyway, order of the day, first and foremost, has to be a right attacking mid. And as well as trying to find one ourselves, I will just quickly set up a recruitment focus. You know the deal. Nationality is partially German. Current ability, I mean, they need to be an improvement on what we've got. Someone on the younger side of things would be good. Ongoing, confirm. Between that and me doing my own scouting, hopefully we can find someone. I feel like given the fact we've got all this money all of a sudden, maybe instead of filtering by transfer listed or contracts expiring in a year, I should just sort by ability. Look at players that we've scouted and ones we can actually afford now. I mean, certainly someone like Julian Weigl is actually a possible signing, which is rather mad, and I'm not sure he's what I need, but I think today the squad's going to get better. One player I mentioned last episode, and I kind of completely neglected it as an idea because we couldn't afford him, was Jonathan Burkhardt from Mainz. This guy, 10 goals in 32, not the craziest return, but he's a rather good player, and suddenly that 14 to 21 million pounds asking price isn't really putting me off, which might be a dangerous thing. In terms of right attacking mids, there's no one that we've scouted yet who fulfills either the German criteria or the wild card of the 3 nations we discussed last episode. But if I sort by value, there are players here that we don't have scouted. Are any of them exciting? I mean, Kadra here of Brighton, not a bad player. He's not Datro Fofana levels of good, is he? Zagrova here is a Kosovoan international. He is part German. He's not a bad player by any means, and he is left-footed. He is the kind of player that you could play as that inverted winger. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of this bloke before. Has anyone heard of this man before? He looks good. I'm looking at his stats for last season. They're slightly less good. He could be the very typical football manager winger who has loads of pace, great technicals, but has the mentals of a fig tree. Petr Pusic here, he's not it, is he? He's just not it. One thing I didn't do last episode, however, was go through the national teams, the national youth teams of the kind of nations that we do have the option now to sign players from. Maybe there's some good players out there, maybe I should sign some of these players. I say that, the Swiss national team, it's not that special. No disrespect, Swiss viewers. I think you can relate somewhat. I mean, Noah Okafor would be a fun signing, but he's only just signed for Marseille, and he's valued at 40 million. I'm annoyed to see that he joined them on a free. I hope we didn't have actually a chance of signing him, because he would have been rather useful. I'm unsure if Austria necessarily has better kind of players in the areas we need, but Austria does have some okay talent. Someone like Seevold here would be an interesting pickup. I'm going to click on him with the slim hope he might be part German, but he's not part German. He'd be a good player, but I don't really need centre mids at the mo. Iwu here is not a bad player, is he? I mean, consider the fact that we've just got rid of Paul, and just as a reminder, we sold this guy for £12 million. Iwu is just a much better player available for between 5.2 and 7.6 million. Is he, however, good enough to break into the starting 11? Is he enough of an upgrade on Flick for me to actually consider him for my wildcard signing? And I'm not sure he is. I mean, I'll consider him, but there has to be someone better out there. I would check the Liechtenstein national team. Not sure it's worth my time. Okay, slightly concerned there's no right attacking mids out there, so we'll leave that one for now. How about strikers? Besides Burkhardt, who else is out there? We could pick up Kara, who's an Austrian international. I mean, Kara, he's not that different, is he, to Jordan we've just got rid of? In fact, when you compare the two of them, yeah, there really isn't a world of difference. Kara probably does edge it for me. Slightly better heading, same jumping reach. 5.2 million. Is it bad that I'm actually tempted? Again, though, this wildcard signing matters, and I'm not sure signing someone from Orlando City is necessarily the play. I've already signed one MLS striker this window. I realise here, I'm just looking at players with contracts expiring. I don't need to worry about the asking prices so much. I should just be going out there and getting good players. Lars here. Lars Lucas May. I remember this guy playing for Bayern Munich in FM. I never remember him actually looking as good as he looks here. He doesn't look terrible. He's the kind of player you'd look at and go, well, he's good in the air, but he's slow. But with how defensively we sit deep, that isn't even necessarily a massive problem, is it? I do still feel like we can do better, though. Dejan Ljubicic. Nailed it. Austrian player. He actually looks really kind of good. Just not really in a position I need, though. Basically, what I'm realising going through this list of players is there might be some really good players here, but I'm not sure how many of them are actually good enough. I have kind of had the realisation that I might still want to look at goalkeepers. I know that we had a really, really good performance in the last game of the season by Rono, but he is 31. He is turning 32 next month. The succession plan, it's not really there. Daniel played well in one game. The next two were awful. He's not a great backup goalkeeper. And that's why I was on this screen here and it jogged my memory. Nicholas Hedl. He's an Austrian international goalkeeper, 23 years old. If we just compare him with Rono, he is a pretty significant upgrade. At 23 years old, he's on the younger side of things as well. He actually looks like he could be a really, really good goalkeeper. Resolute personality is great. Some decent distribution is cool to see as well. How much do they want? Does his agent think he'll sign for us? His agent reckons the wage demands are on the lower side. My scouts really, really like him. They gave him an A+. They think he's absolutely immense. He has a full knowledge of the language already, which is a nice added bonus. And he's a top quality goalkeeper for a not too ridiculous a price. Right, if the Hedl deal's happening, I'm sorry to Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Austria. You're all off the table for the rest of the year. And now I go back to looking through players with contracts expiring in the next year, hoping something jumps out at me. Nothing jumped out at me. I'm now just looking at Germans again. Don't know why I keep ending up back on Jonathan Burkhardt. I feel like we might want a striker to compete with Tillman for the striking position. I mean, Burkhardt is a very different kind of striker, but between these two, you've got two versatile forwards who are great. I just feel like that 15 to 23 million pounds and those wage demands, which I can't afford, it's just too steep. Tom Krause was a player I looked at last episode, and the asking price from Leipzig was way, way higher than it is now. They've lowered their demands for him for 5.6 to 8.4 million. Can I just offer 5 and see what they say? I assume they're just going to reject this. They are, but it's not a firm rejection. I don't know if I necessarily need another centre mid on the defensive side. I say that. Maybe I do. Here is our current first team at the moment. It's a little on the lighter side. And in terms of those kind of more defensively minded midfielders, we've got Haberer, who's entering the last year of his contract. He's not great defensively. Forsby, of course, is the starting defensive mid. Kempf can play centre-back, can play defensive mid as well, but it's definitely more of a centre-back backup. Tempelman, I mean, Tempelman can kind of play there, but compared to Krause, Tom is way, way better. I think I might go for Tom. We're going to have to see what his wage demands are like. I think he's the kind of player who, whilst he probably won't dislodge Forsby immediately, longer term could be that defensive mid option for us. And at the very least, it's just a good versatile option to have. He looks really well-rounded. The potential value of those two signings is only £17 million. If they both happened, we still have over £25 million to spend. Wow. Okay, I need attackers all of a sudden. One thing I've not looked into yet is the possibility of loaning someone in. I'm a bit anti-loans. Some people will notice. I don't love loans, and the reason I don't like them is because I think there's always a benefit to signing players who maybe aren't quite as good, but at least you can develop and sell on, and it's a great means of making money, especially with a club kind of in our current situation. That said, we are at a point here where I'm struggling to find players. Someone like Vidovic here is a decent little wonder kid for the future, and whilst it pains me to develop a player for Bayern Munich, he is part German, he does look quite good. His current contract actually expires at the end of this season. They want me to pay like £4 million to loan him for a year. Bayern are just living on another planet, I think. If you thought the last transfer special was longer, this one, I mean, suddenly there's a new pool of players available to me with all this money that we've got. I'm going to be thinking about things 10 times more. I'd like to get in a right centre-back who's partially German, hopefully not on the older side of things. I mean, someone like Bissek here is available for cheap. Bissek's available. How much do you want? Inter 4.8 to 6.8 million. He's not bad. He's kind of similar to MB. He's a little bit older. I guess there's a reason why he's going for that cheap. He would be an option for sure. I did just change our transfer interest to doubtful, and now Martin Dardai, who is a Hertha Berlin player, we've been here before, has popped up. He's not that good, is he? Any of these other players good? I know Collins was good for an FM or two. He's not quite as good in this save game as I remember him being in other games. Janicek, not it either. Yeah, we're going to have to look for an older centre-back, I think. I know we looked at Lars Lucas Mai before. I'm not sure he's going to be pushing Flick for a starting spot, but as our backup right centre-back option, I think we could do a lot worse. I mean, they're a similar kind of player, really. Has really good important matches, great consistency as well. And he's only really going to be a backup this year. How much do they want? If I could get him for £4 million, which it looks like we might be able to, I'd be pretty happy with that, is what I was going to say. Lacks in current ability. I think he's the man for my plan. All of that to say, still can't find a right attacking mid. I need to find a right attacking mid. Even if it costs me more than I want to pay, I probably need to do it. We could go with someone like Nauf. I mean, they're not it, are they? Quinn Sullivan, I looked at before. He's just not even a right winger. Shade is playing for Brentford. Could I loan him from them for the year? I knew that wouldn't be possible. Last year we used Gruder out on the right-hand side, cutting in on his left foot. He wasn't quite good enough ready for where we're at. Draxler was the other man we used out there, who I could still use out there. I just do not trust him to be available for the whole season. And I need someone to fill that gap. This might be the longest period of time going for a transfer special where I've not hit continue in recent memory. I really know what I need to get. I just don't know if it exists. I mean, Ulrich here is a good little player with a decent amount of potential, but he's not good enough now. I've upped the age slightly, and as a result of that, Lazar Samardzic has popped up. This guy plays at Udinese. He was signed for £2.6 million. Didn't really have a great season in Serie A. He doesn't look like a bad player. He has some good potential, but he would definitely be a punt at 13 to 16 million. And that apparently now is going to be 17 to 21 million, because I asked. That's a no-go. Jonathan Burkhart might be the play. I think the wage demands are going to be a problem. But you know what? Given the fact there's not a load of other options out there, I don't think we can afford him here. I'm just curious to see what his wage demands might be. Theoretically, I could afford him for £21 million. I'm not paying that kind of money for him. He's not that good. Okay, Heddle, first and foremost, should be a fairly easy signing to complete. He looks like a great goalkeeper. Has asked for a release clause. We're just going to remove and exclude it and hope he's okay with that. He is asking for a little bit more than I'd like on the wage front, but the fact he's locked in a 5-year deal is great news. He, I think, will be our long-term goalkeeping option. £40,000, I'm more than happy to pay him. Apparently, Kraus or Tom, I think it's a S sound, the B that isn't a B. Answers on a postcard. I don't speak German. He apparently has doubts about playing for us. I have doubts about signing him. He's asking for a lot of stuff. This might just backfire spectacularly now, or maybe we do end up signing him. I say that. He wants a 10% yearly wage rise whilst already asking for 58,000. Considering I was looking at him as a sub option, that's not going to work. My apparently is interested in negotiating terms, but thinks there's more interesting options elsewhere. That other option is Hertha Berlin. I won't let the fans know that you said that, but that is being lodged in my memory, Lars. Good signing, I think, if we can pull that one off. Really like his hidden attributes. Lacks a little bit in the pace department, but besides that, he looks like he could be a solid backup right centre-back option. Deal for Burkhardt is possible, apparently. What's his wage demands? It's not even worth trying to negotiate. I think of all the players that we've looked at, Zagrova was the best of the bunch in terms of right attacking mid options. So I'm going to prioritise getting his scout report in. I don't love him, but yeah, I think this might be where we need a wild card next year. The only other option I can think to do is to maybe move Alex Scott to play out on the right-hand side, play him as an inverted winger, which I'm not sure it's exactly how you want to deploy him, but you definitely could use him there. And then rather than side anyone, you just play Wiedreago at advanced playmaker and do that and hope that Wiedreago develops. I mean, we've spent £9.5 million on him. He's the kind of player who this year I want to use as the immediate backup to Scott and to Felix in the midfield. Do I just go with this? Do I just, rather than sign a right attacking mid for the sake of it, maybe this is the lesser evil. I was looking at the national youth team for Germany. Potentially mad idea. Could you play Martel here, who's a defensive mid at centre-back? Like, would it be the worst idea in the world for this man to be a centre-back? Is it needed? I mean, how does he compare with is my first question. The answer is, he is an upgrade. Is he a significant or enough of an upgrade to justify the kind of price it might cost us? Let's ask the agent, how much do they want? 8.8 to 11 million for a defensive midfielder who I might stick in at centre-back. When you compare him against Flick, I'd argue maybe he's marginally better. I mean, this isn't even the craziest idea I've ever had, is it? He's 22 years old. He's only just turned 22. He doesn't like important matches. He's not even naturally a centre-back, but we have money to spend. Maybe I should be looking to spend that little bit more of it. I really don't want to break £10 million, but if I wanted to get the deal done, it's going to cost me 11.25. Oh, it's not cheap, is it? It's not cheap. I just feel like rather than signing a ready-made article at centre-back, maybe I should just be looking at the younger route. I mean, we've got some really good young centre-backs here as well, who maybe I should be leaving a path open to the first team, because a player like Amoako here is not a bad centre-back for the future at 19. Realised there's a few players in this youth team who are meant to be with the B team. Let's move them over to the, I call it the B team, it's the second team. The other centre-back I was thinking of is not you, it is this guy, Linus Gector. But when you compare Gector with Martel, you can suddenly see why Martel is an £11 million player, can't you? I might go for Martel here. I like the potential. I hate the fact he hates important matches, but I think he has the makings of a really good centre-back. Okay, Martel's wage demands I don't think are going to be too extreme. He's not expecting to be a starter right away, which probably would line up nicely with kind of a career trajectory of getting him into the first team over the course this year at centre-back as he learns the position. Longer term, he becomes the nailed-down option. Going to try and get his wages down a little bit because they're higher than what was suggested, but with a bit of negotiating, £31,000. I feel like for £11 million, we could do a lot worse. On the one hand, I could just save all my money, but that's not very interesting, and I do need a centre-back, and in an investment like this, it's probably going to result in us making some money down the line selling him on. I've just noticed our media prediction for this year is 9th, so the team has got better this season, which is, I mean that's a crumb of comfort. Hertha Berlin have made an offer for mine. That's annoying. Hoffenheim have made an offer for Burkhardt, although they've offered £9 million. I had to bid £18 million for them to even entertain it. I was weighing up signing this player last episode and I decided not to do it because we didn't have money, but you know what? Thailand Bullet. I hope I've said that correctly. We're going to pick you up, mate. £3.2 million for an 18-year-old who's playing in the Germany under-21s. He does want to be a squad player, which is a bit of a concern considering I'm viewing him as more of a backup option. That said, we are going to be able to thrash out a deal, I hope, with him here. 4-year deal. Let's get rid of the release clause. Let's get rid of these wage rises as well. The kind of player who I will probably make available for the second team or even put in the second team for the coming season. But, I mean, if he develops, he could be reasonably good. I know his potential is only 4 stars, but for £3.2 million, that's still a really good cheap signing. And also, when I look at our youth team, we've got Acevedo, who is the left back. I don't have a young right back in our ranks. Has just been brought to my attention. I've got some players in the youth team here who were out on loan last year that I should probably just be getting any money I can for before they run down their contracts. One of those players is Mikkel Kaufmann here, who I didn't know existed. Where was he on loan last year? Karlsruhe in the league below us. He got 5 goals in 27. Yeah, he's not going to be playing for us. The more I think about it, the more I'm thinking that Alex Scott out on the right wing with Widrea go through the middle might not even be the worst idea in the world. But if I do want to make it happen, I do need to add a bit more depth at centre mid. Obviously, we've got Martel, who is depth at centre mid technically. I'm thinking in a slightly more offensive attacking capacity, however. And suddenly, I'm landing back on Quinn Sullivan, who, I mean, he could be really, really good, couldn't he? But he'd have to develop quite a lot to be really good. And yet I'm tempted. There's something about the Americans who have part German nationality that apparently I just have a natural, I don't know, attraction to. Also, he's got Bangladeshi international. I want him to go play for Bangladesh. Right, £11 million is too much. But what if I sign you, I was going to say at the end of the season, thinking the end of the MLS season, because it's the summer for them, which is why the asking price is high. But I don't have that option. Do I? I don't want to spend 10 million on this guy, do I? But he's got Bangladesh national. No, not doing it. We're going for him in January. Remind me in the comments. Okay, some good news. I've had bids on the players in the youth team who I'm kind of keen to get rid of. So we will be able to get some money for some of them. It's not a whole lot of money, but anything counts. And elsewhere, Eric Martel has agreed to join the club. Now, given the shortage of options elsewhere, not even really going to think on this one. I think he's going to be a great defensive option for us. Probably mostly at centre-back. Would like to see him in the team on the regular, but as a defensive mid as well, I think he could offer quite a lot. Potential to be a leading Bundesliga player. That's what we want to hear, isn't it? That's the dream. He's already competent as centre-back. We're going to get him trained in there. Needs to perhaps work on his decisions a little. However, I think for his focus, I'm actually going to put it on passing, and I should probably put him on ball playing defender as well. I need his passing range to get a little bit better, but besides that, I really like him. Hedl is here. He is also a leading Bundesliga player. £11 million. We have a new goalkeeper. I do feel bad for Frederick Rono, but his time's over. Thank you for the cup final. Thank you for getting me Europa League football. Now, I'm going to try and sell you. Apparently, you'll not react well. We'll find out how well it goes. I actually really, really like how this team is looking all of a sudden, which is bizarre because I was very, very unhappy when I realised we weren't going to find a right attacking mid. The one thing I'm a little bit concerned about is our source of goals, but I mean, maybe Ngankam just comes back and rekindles his form from last year. He's still out for 7 weeks to 3 months, mind you, so probably shouldn't be banking on his return. Looking at options here for German strikers, would Davy Selke be the most mad player to sign? He's got crazy physicals, but he has absolutely no composure or off the ball or finishing. But his mentals are really good and his physicals are incredible. I kind of almost want to sign him as an experiment. Park to Prem viewers, I don't know about you, he reminds me of Kevan Williams, the Jamaican forward that we had in the Championship. £5 million for him. Think of the memes. Think of how good he could be. Think of how bad he could be as well. How many goals did he get last season? I mean, 8 goals in 29 games? You could do a lot worse, and he used to play for Hertha Berlin. So, you know, it's just what we do. Rono wants to talk about his future. Mate, you're not going to be the starting goalkeeper anymore. I'm going to tell him my mind's made up. I hope it's going to be fine, but there's a lot of red on my screen now. How much does Selke one a week. How much am I going to have to pay you to be a meme striking option? He wants to be a regular starter. That terrifies me. He wants 44,000 to be on the bench. He wants 44,000. I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry. We have got striking options this season. I just don't necessarily feel like there's a guarantee they're good striking options. I mean, Dial here is an okay striker. He might have problems with injuries. You know what? I've got quite a few injury-prone players already. Probably don't need any more. I can't believe I'm doing this. Can we have Undav on loan again, please? They think he should be tested in a different environment. Never mind. I have to say, I really am enjoying the self-imposed transfer restriction. As frustrating as it does make things at times where you can't find the players that you want, it does make you think outside the box, think about different ways to approach things. I did discuss the idea of going strikerless last episode. I mean, technically, we still could do that. Also, Felix technically can play as a striker, and actually is quite a good striker. Maybe between him and Tillman, we actually have enough in the way of striking options. Maybe. I mean, here is a list of the best strikers in the team. You've got Felix, who apparently is the best striker in the team. Then Ngankam, Tillman, Haberer apparently is an option, and then Llewellyn. And then it's Arp. I mean, Arp is fine. Maybe it's okay. I'm trying to convince myself. I'm going through different stages. I'm currently in denial. No options for Rono. This could be a problem. We'll transfer list him. Someone's going to bid on him, right? So another player who's in the reserve team is Keita Endo. He's a Japanese international who last year was on loan in the league below us. Played okay, but he's just not really got the quality required, I think, to play for us. Darmstadt have bid £2 million. If you can give me £2 million over the course of the next 6 months, you can have him for that. They think that's acceptable. I think that's acceptable too. I have still technically got Lucas Mai potentially joining us, but not sure if I need him now. Obviously, Eric Martel has joined us, and alongside our other centre-back options who do show up when you select the centre-back position, I think we've probably got adequate quality. We've got 5 first-team quality centre-backs, and I've got a few young players I could call upon if needed. So, sorry, Mai. I really talked you up earlier. It's not happening. I mean, I have spent £22 million today, but I've still got another £20 million to spend, and I really want to just find a striker. No one wants Rono. That's kind of a problem, because I've now annoyed him. Surely someone's going to bid on him eventually, right? Right? Hoffenheim have managed to sign Jonathan Burkhardt for £9 million. When I tried to bid on him, I was told it would require £21 million, then Hoffenheim get him for half of that. I'm livid. Some good news though. Talan Bullet has agreed to sign for us from Schalke. I think he is a player who maybe some people even mentioned in the comments as being a potentially good player for us. He, I think, is going to be a useful player. Offers a bit of depth across the defence, really. Although I think for us longer term, he is going to be a right wing back option. Really, really good player in this specific area. Needs to work on his quickness. I think I'm going to move him to the second team. I'm hoping that's not going to annoy him, because I did say he was going to be a squad player for us, but I don't think he's quite ready to make our bench just yet. Should I be concerned about the fact our second team don't actually play matches? Because I know that is a thing. They need to kind of get into the playable leagues. I assume they can be promoted into them. I suppose in the meantime, I just get a staff member to arrange loads of friendlies. Bullet wants to know why I've moved him. We could be about to have a rocky start to our relationship. I'm willing to keep this between us, but I'm not happy at being dropped from the first team squad. I think there's value in taking a step back. I've got nothing left to prove at that level. I wish I could just make him available for the second team, but I can't. But because he's 18, I guess I can just make him available for the under-19s and have him train with our first team. I mean, the fact that that's fine with him, but apparently going anywhere near the second team is outrageous. I don't understand, but this is Football Manager. There's lots I don't understand about this game. Okay, Nantes have made a bid for Rono, £2.2 million. I'm just going to take it. It's below market value, but ultimately, I don't want an unhappy goalkeeper in our squad. I think in Nicholas, we've picked up a significant upgrade to the point where I don't even feel like there's much value in keeping Rono around. I guess the proof will be in the pudding longer term as to whether or not this is the right decision. But right here and now, it does feel like the right thing to do. Also, Lucas Meyer has now accepted a deal with Hertha Berlin, so he probably wouldn't have signed for us anyway. He's made a powerful enemy. Once Ronno leaves our first team, the first team squad is going to be 25 players. Like, I don't have to sign anyone more. And I'm beginning to think that if I was to just spend £17 million for the sake of it, I'd live to regret it later. Maybe I should just save it. Towards deadline day, perhaps some players become available. The actual season still doesn't start for almost 3 weeks. Why the board? Why are we doing this, board? Why are we blocking this deal? Nonce. Well, you bid 2.8 million just so you can have him. If Ronno now doesn't leave the club because the board rejected and blocked the £2.2 million, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? I guess I'll offer him out for 2.8 and see if anyone else bids. Houston, we might have a problem. Very kind of Endo here. He's told me he's considering his options at the end of his contract, despite the fact, hopefully, he's about to leave to Darmstadt for £2 million. I mean, thanks for letting me know. I don't think you can be here for much longer, though. Unless now he turns down Darmstadt, in which case, that would be awkward. Dortmund have made an offer for Flick. Florian Flick we picked up for £1.7 million. I think he's proven himself to be a valuable asset. They've made a bid that is not even £3.5 million. Like, I know they've just sold Schlotterbeck. I saw that pop up. Dortmund sold Schlotterbeck for a lot of money as well. How much did they sell him for? £35 million you sold Schlotterbeck for. Then you're coming to me trying to pick up Flick in blue here for less than £3.5 million. Are you having a giraffe? I was sat wondering if maybe I'd missed something. You know, maybe my scouts had found a striker that I hadn't found. Nope, they're recommending Burkhardt to me. What about right attacking mids? Yeah, they don't seem to think they exist, which is kind of where I'm at with it all. I mean, they're recommending Matika here, who is part German, so good job that filter is working. I mean, he's not bad at 21 years old. The fact he's playing in Slovenia doesn't necessarily make me think he's going to be a great option for us. No disrespect to connoisseurs of Slovenian football. You know, today's episode's gone on long because I've now resorted to sitting down at the standing desk. My legs have gone, 70 minutes in. It's longer than that. I've been sat here a while. Too tired. I think I'm at a point now where, given the pool of players available, and it is a limited pool of players, there's no one immediately who I can sign who's going to solve any of the remaining problems in this team. And by remaining problems, I'm basically talking about right attacking mid and maybe a backup striker of some kind. There's still plenty of time left of the transfer window. Players can get unhappy, moves can be forced and all that stuff. Ultimately, with £53 million left in the bank, it's probably not a silly idea just to hold on to the transfer budget, if not for the January transfer window, just so we've got more money for next year where maybe our reputation's higher, or at the very least, we have actually got a wild card to sign. When you look at this transfer window, I mean, net spend right now sits at just over £12 million. I'm pretty happy with things. I feel like in the likes of Paul here and also Laduni, we've lost two players who, whilst they were members of the first team, they weren't critical to the way that we played, and the money that we received we couldn't really turn down. And in return, we've picked up Nicholas here, who is an absolutely phenomenal goalkeeper. I think he's going to be absolutely amazing for us. Loads and loads of potential to improve as well, which is always nice. We also have Martel, who again, potential for the future, players who can step into the first team immediately, who have potential to fulfill as well, I think is a really good way to approach things. It's not like these are kids who can't contribute right away. Wiedrego is maybe slightly more of a question mark, but it was great to pick him up again after the loan spell last year that was cut short. For £9.5 million, he will be getting first team football. He is going to be a big focus of getting on the pitch, getting developed in the coming season. I mean, as things stand, he is probably going to be starting in that advanced playmaker slot, which is absolutely mad to say that this is the team we could be starting the year with. Elsewhere, the additions of players like Nemetcha and Tillman, I think, are great value for money. Tillman has a little bit of pressure to hit the ground running, but I'm hoping he is going to be able to do it. Elsewhere, Bullet and Mb, useful players for the future, and Zach Karyan, bold decision last episode to sign him on a free transfer, but I kind of look at him and I really, really like the look of him. I think he's going to be immense for us. Obviously, on the outs, besides the two headline signings, the only other big sell of note was Jordan, but £6.5 million for a player with 1 year left on his contract, I don't think is the worst move in the world. He didn't wow me last year. Hopefully, we're not going to be missing him too much. I suppose with the hindsight of knowing the players that we ended up selling, Had I known that we weren't going to need the money so desperately, perhaps I would have kept hold of him. Yeah, hopefully I don't live to regret that decision. Now, we do have the DFL Super Cup. As far as I'm aware, that is kind of just a glorified pre-season friendly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Instead, I think we're going to come back for the game against Stuttgart and possibly even the game against Leipzig. A double-header to start the season? That sounds pretty good to me. I think the aim for this coming season, develop the talent that we've got, especially those younger players, hopefully qualify for European football again. And of course, we've got the Europa League football to look forward to that we secured in heroic fashion. The more I think about it, the more I do feel bad for Rono. If you have enjoyed today's video, a like rating is always appreciated. We will be back again tomorrow with your standard Park to Prem action. Until then, take things easy. It's me, Jack, and I'll see you all again on the next one. I'm out.